Hey gun people! See, you think it's a horse video. No, it's a gun video. We're gonna talk about some trigger pull and stuff here. So let me get this down and go over. This is probably one of the most key elements to improve your shooting that you can have. So let's talk about the trigger pull here. Okay? I think this gun's loaded. I can't remember. Let me just pull the trigger. Oh yeah, it's unloaded. I just want to make sure. That's not the way you see if your gun's loaded, you big dummy. Somebody, you never pull the trigger and then find out if a gun loaded. Shut up, dummy. All right, trigger pull. I've got a picture, and I'm gonna put a link to it in the description on here, so you can go to the picture. There's a picture, and it's a training picture, and it says if you've got your trigger finger, let me go this way. This much in, it's good. This is too much. You should never be that far. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see that. Too far, better, much better. So there's people that have this theory that you should only have the tip of your finger, and this was taught to me for years, and I never did it. I've always gotten what I call a larger contact patch. I wrap my finger around like a grip. I make a fist, and that's how I pull my trigger. I don't keep this little thing here and pull it like that. I pull my trigger like so. That's how I pull my trigger. Okay? I take this mag out here. So that's how I pull my trigger. If I'm shooting, and people will tell you, oh man, that's way too much finger through there. That's not good. The other thing they will tell you is if you have a lot of finger, you're going to pull your rounds this way. If you have less finger, too little finger, you'll pull your rounds that way. So you have to have the perfect amount of trigger to make sure your gun stays straight. Look, man, that's BS. I'm sorry. It just doesn't make sense. It's bullshit. So, trigger pull is about reset, slowly forward, and slowly rear. That is the most, out of all my training, out of all my things, out of everything that I've been through, the schools, and I've trained with a lot of people, man. I mean, I'm talking about, I'm not saying I'm great because I have this training. I've been in situations where I've trained with a lot of different agencies, police agencies, California, I'm an instructor, FBI, DEA, DOE, Department of Energy. I mean, you name it, I have probably got some of their training. And out of all the training I got, the best thing I tell people is the number one thing that's going to get you accuracy is your trigger pull. Now, I know there's going to be people that are going to say, no, it's sight alignment. No, it's sight picture. No, it's grip. No, it's stance. No, it's whether you lock your elbow or don't. There's all these other factors that help you maintain accuracy. But I'm telling you, the worst shooters, the ones that cannot hit bullseyes, it's their trigger pull. Because the basic fundamentals of sight picture, sight alignment, grip, stance, all that, even if I screw one or two of those up, if I've got a trigger pull, when the bullet leaves this barrel, ooh, he put his finger in front of the barrel. Whoo, here, I'm gonna make the people nervous. Woohoo, whoo. So when you pull that trigger, that is the number one thing that causes people to miss where they're shooting. So if you've got your sights lined up, because no matter what I do, when I trigger pulls, wherever that barrel is and wherever these sights are pointing is where the bullet's going. So this little jerk here, or this anticipation, or this compensation, all those throw bullets very farly. This little, I'm gonna squeeze this trigger here like I want to squeeze it. I'll squeeze it like I squeeze it when I'm shooting. So watch the barrel move and how much it moves. Am I in there? Okay. So here's the barrel. I'm squeezing it. That's my normal trigger squeeze, okay? So the barrel shouldn't move a little bit. It's going to move a little bit, but it's not going to. This is how most people squeeze a trigger. So those throwing motions seem very minute, but man, that affects. The farther back I get, the more. If I'm this close to a target and I do this, I'm probably still going to hit a body. If I do this from this far, I may hit the edge of the body. If I do the same thing this far, I'm missing the body. So the farther you go back, the more these minute changes. That's why if you've got a revolver or an automatic, I think I'll do an automatic too, to sit around and dry fire. This is called dry firing. You racked around, you squeeze the trigger. Racked around, you squeeze the trigger. Racked around, practice your reset, squeeze the trigger. This is not a good trigger. That's not good. Most people will shoot like that. In between shots, their finger comes off the trigger and all the way back down. That throws your grip off, it moves your gun. Trigger control is the #1 thing that's going to improve your accuracy. When I work with people, I'm telling you, I make them stand there on a range and I say, hold that trigger back and don't let it forward. And then I rack the round. I go, okay, now reset your trigger. And they always go like that. And I'm like, no! Reset that trigger slowly till you hear a click and stop immediately. That's a reset. Now I'm immediately applying pressure to the rear. As soon as I hear that click, I'm starting to come back. Now I squeeze and my round goes off. I let the trigger go slowly. Click, reset. I'm pulling back. Fire. Resetting, pulling back. Resetting, putting back. So to me, it's pretty standard. I can do it pretty quickly. But when you're starting out, you need to do it slow, slow, slow forward, slow, slow, slow back. Slow, slow, slow forward, slow, slow, slow back. That is, if you take anything from any shooter, or etc., even from me, if you want to increase your accuracy and become a better shot, you've got to get that trigger control down. And you get it through repetition, muscle memory, doing it a bunch of times. Some people say 5,000, some people say 2,000, some people say, doesn't matter the number. What matters is when it's ingrained in your mind so you don't have to think about it. It becomes second nature to fire and stop that round right when it resets. You're not, well, I call this popping the trigger. Bang, 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 that's popping. You look at most people shooting in Hollywood on TV, their fingers are always doing this when they're firing. A good shooter, their finger will do that. Very little movement, keeping the sights on target, and you're squeezing. That has to become second nature. So what I tell people is you sit around the house, and I've done this well over 5,000, if not 50,000 times. Because when I get a new gun, I sit around the house and I shoot shit. I don't shoot it with bullets, but I shoot it with empty gun. I sit here and I go, let me see that light socket. I'm going to shoot that light socket. Okay, I got the light socket. Let me see that light switch. I'm going to shoot that light switch. Okay, let me see that picture over there. I'm going to shoot an eyeball. So when I'm doing that, I'm reinforcing what my sight picture looks like. I'm reinforcing that when I shoot, my sight picture doesn't move. It doesn't go like that. So by reinforcing that and shooting things around the house, I'm reinforcing my trigger reset. I'm reinforcing my small movement of my finger. I'm reinforcing listening for that click and then immediately pulling back. It all becomes second nature. That is the best pro tip you will ever get for free. I'm telling you. Because I don't care what anybody says. When you do that right, wherever your gun is pointed, you're going to hit. And that's why when somebody says, I had somebody out here shooting the other day. They had this little gun. They were shooting on a target. And she shot probably 15 rounds. Said, man, these sights are shooting really, really high. I'm like aiming down here and hitting them in the head. These sights are really off. I said, let me see it. Put one right dead center in the head. I go, it ain't the sights. And she, in her mind, could not get over that if her gun is shooting that low every time, it's her trigger. That's what's causing it. It's not anything else. If she's aiming, if she can consistently get hits by aiming at the chest, but hitting the head consistently, then her sight picture's wrong, her grip, whatever it is, she's telling me that she's doing something right because she's being consistent with Kentucky windage. And you know what? If somebody can't correct that, then maybe we just need to move the sights. And we'll move her up to where she aims the same way, where she's comfortable, where she's consistent, and we'll get her hitting on target. We'll just have to adjust the sights up or down, left or right, whatever we need to do. So that's one way to fix it. I would rather people be able to take any gun that someone else can shoot and hit a bullseye than they can shoot it and hit a bullseye. Because everything's the same. The only thing that changes is the person pulling the trigger. So, you know, take it for what it's worth. that is a really key tip, and hopefully you guys get something out of that. I don't know where the hell my horses are at. Hi, boys! They like video time, Buddy especially. Hey, Mr. Hollywood! Say hi to YouTube! All right, they're sleeping and snoozing. I'll leave them alone.